Did you know that Mario, Luigi, and Peach have popped up in a ton of cartoons and animated series? And most people didn't even notice? You know that crazy show called Gravity Falls on Disney? Well, a lot of bizarre and super weird things happen all the time in that series. And in the famous episode Fight Fighters, things are no different. Because an old video game literally comes to life out of nowhere in the real world. You already know exactly where we're going with this, right? Right in the post-credits scene of the episode, we see a classic video game version of the town of Gravity Falls, which is where the whole main story takes place, with our main characters having turned into little pixelated sprites that can be selected by the player on the screen. And then comes the master stroke. Mabel shouts, "It's me, Mabel!" which is clearly a hilarious and very direct reference to that classic and unforgettable catchphrase from our favorite mustachioed plumber. "It's me, Mario." It's so good.
It's me, Mabel!
If you've watched Wreck-It Ralph, you know the movie is packed with game characters, like Sonic, but Mario, unfortunately, didn't make an official appearance, at least not in the way we expected. What happens is that one of the characters we see in the background of the film is a bartender who is incredibly similar to Mario. Seriously, look at his mustache. Now in Bluey, which is the most watched cartoon in the world these days, in the famous episode called Movies, the Big Dad Bandit is super excited to take his two little daughters to watch a cool movie in the dark of the theater. In the hallway, they walk past several posters of movies currently showing. And if you look closely, you'll notice that one of these colorful posters shows a beautiful canine princess wearing a lovely full pink dress and a little crown, which immediately strongly reminds us of the majestic Princess Peach. So had you noticed these references to Mario or Peach in these cartoons? Get ready, because we're just getting started and we're going to blow your mind. The Amazing World of Gumball also made references to Mario. This happens when we finally see the past of Nicole, the protagonist's mother, showing her when she participated in a sinister fighting tournament as a child. Amidst several other Easter eggs thrown on the screen, the scene shows that one of the unlucky opponents of the young and fierce Nicole was none other than a giant turtle identical to Bowser. Poor guy, he got beat up. In another cartoon, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, from Cartoon Network, in a certain episode, two men wearing classic work overalls, one in red and the other entirely in green, appear out of nowhere carrying a giant mirror. Honestly, you can't ignore that they are obviously Mario and Luigi. The best part is that it makes total sense for the two of them to appear right here, because in the magical world of Foster's, imaginary friends take on a life of their own and walk around. So these two guys in overalls could very well be the imaginary friends of some very creative kid who is a die-hard Super Mario Bros. Fan. In the cartoon Amphibia, in one of the episodes, a very crazy race goes down that strongly resembles the style of Mario Kart, one of the most beloved games in the Mario franchise. One character even ruthlessly throws a blue shell in Anne's direction. As it turns out, any fan knows. One of the most famous, broken, and feared items in all of Mario's kart games is exactly the dreaded blue shell, which always relentlessly pursues the player who is way out in first place and hits them. Sonic has always been considered by all fans as Mario's great rival in the wonderful world of video games. That's why many found it funny when in Sonic the Hedgehog, the evil Dr. Robotnik ended up getting stuck in a totally strange dimension full of giant mushrooms. The funny thing is that this world is actually an adaptation of the Mushroom Hill Zone map from the old games Sonic and Knuckles. But it is also a blatant copy of the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario's home. And all of this ends up being even more obvious and in your face because Sonic makes it very clear to everyone that he doesn't want to go to that dimension at all and shows a massive contempt for mushrooms. Moving on to The Simpsons, both Mario and Luigi make a surprise appearance in a very classic episode of the show, only this time it's all inside Bart Simpson's wild imagination. In the same scene, even Donkey Kong and Sonic show up there, right alongside the Plumber Brothers. Back to talking about Gumball. In one of the episodes, a character named Ochre, Oito, manages to create a floating yellow block that spits out cold, hard cash when he hits his head on it. We don't even need to say that this golden block is practically the exact same classic block that Mario has always used to get valuable coins and power-ups to clear stages, right? It's a total ripoff. In Teen Titans Go, when Beast Boy and Cyborg are ruthlessly thrown into the dark interior of a mysterious cave, and to our surprise, the lifeless bodies of Mario and Luigi appear lying at the bottom of this macabre place. Yes, believe it or not, the Mario brothers unfortunately suffered a super cruel and permanent fate in this parallel reality of the Titans. Before we continue, just a quick heads up. If you also enjoy movies, series, and cartoons, click the subscribe button right now, alright? Returning to the amazing world of Gumball, there is a reference to Mario there that manages to be even more blatant and hilarious than the others. Ochre says he has an uncle who really likes driving carts, collecting stars, and saving princesses in distress, which are characteristics exactly like those of the beloved Mario. Hearing this, Gumball gets excited to meet this Mario guy. Except he gets a reality check and is bitterly disappointed when he finally meets Ochre's uncle. The guy really is named Mario, but he's just a regular, short, and chubby citizen, very similar to the game character, but with absolutely no magic at all. In another episode of The Simpsons, we see several crazy and alternative versions of the wealthy Mr. Burns, who is Homer's mean and stingy boss, appear on the screen all at once. One of these sinister variants of him is, believe it or not, a monstrous and spike-covered version that looks perfectly like the fearsome villain Bowser, and this creature even gets into a brawl and fights against a totally pixelated and blocky version of Homer Simpson. Going back to Teen Titans Go, in the episode where the Titans decide to have a competition for who can create the best milk mustache, everyone on the team makes very funny and charming mustaches. But Robin, as always wanting to be the best at everything, easily outdoes himself by making the identical shape of Mario's mustache and starting to imitate him perfectly with the accent and everything. Once again in the series Amphibia, there is a character who is almost identical to Mario and is seen wandering around at a moment when the adventurer Sprig decides to become a true superhero and helpfully offers him a box of piping hot pizza. That was very Italian, we have to agree. Remember Ochre, back in Gumball? He has a very powerful code that causes him, out of nowhere, to start flashing frantically in a super colorful rainbow tone, making him totally invincible. These abilities are exactly the same absurd powers that Mario and Luigi receive when they find and use the cheap power of the superstar in Nintendo games. Another time in The Simpsons, when little Bart was feeling lonely and really wanted to have a brother, he dreamed deeply about a kind of brotherland. And guess what? It's precisely in this perfect imaginary world that the duo Mario and Luigi decide to show up. And if we think about it, it makes all the sense in the world. If there's one movie that is literally packed to the brim with sensational game references, it's Wreck-It Ralph. One of those heavy hitters is precisely Bowser himself, Mario's big and feared spike-covered archenemy. He's there making an appearance in the classic group therapy meeting for villains that our big guy Ralph participates in. The classic and irreverent cartoon Mad was a direct animated adaptation of the print magazine of the same name, well known worldwide for having very biting adult humor and for not being afraid to make parodies. And it wouldn't be any different with Mario. In one of the episodes, Mario appears and crushes the head of a little Goomba with a stomp, exactly like he always does with the utmost coldness in the games. The big problem is that the reaction of the other Goomba that was standing next to him was incredibly realistic and depressing. The little mushroom monster went into a complete state of shock and was very sad to lose his friend right in front of him. And as if that whole fake mustache story with Robin wasn't enough to prove his fan side, there's a super action-packed episode where the Teen Titans need to enter several difficult virtual game simulations to train hard and improve their fighting skills. And wouldn't you know it, the leader Robin again takes the chance to make another blatant reference to our Italian plumber. This happens because the retro digital game he enters is clearly a 2D side-scrolling platformer, where the big main mission is, guess what? To rescue a princess in distress at the end of the castle. Additionally, in the environment, it's possible to travel underground through huge green pipes, and it's also necessary to defeat enemies simply by jumping full force on their heads. Seriously, do we even need to point out all the other countless similarities this has with the beyond classic Super Mario games? And what about the show Clarence? This one makes Mario appear at a moment that literally no one else was expecting. It turns out that when Clarence and Sumo go to relax and watch a super old-school wrestling program on television, we can notice that one of the wrestlers in the ring is simply very similar to Mario. And the craziest thing, this happens for absolutely no specific reason, just for the sake of the joke. And look, as if that wasn't already weird enough, the other wrestler who is against him also wears a hat very much in Mario's style, as if he were a crazy alternative version of Luigi. Or maybe Waluigi himself, that evil and cheating version of Luigi, especially because both this TV wrestler and the Waluigi from the games wear those unmistakable purple caps. Thinking about it now, maybe we're creating too many theories for a simple hidden reference in Clarence. We've reached the end of this video, but if you like having your mind blown, this is the right place. That's why we left 2 really good videos for you to click, watch, and best of all, stay with us.